Hi, I'm Edie Taylor, and welcome to Tech Talk. This is a new series of programs brought to you by the Technology Committee, and it's dedicated to informing you about new technology and how that technology can enhance your daily life. Each program will have a new topic to be discussed with a local expert on that subject. We hope you find this beneficial. If you have a topic that you would like us to consider, or you're possibly interested in serving on the Technology Committee, please write to us at deartechnologyabby@gmail.com. Today's topic is thermostats. I know that seems boring, but I have with me today Don Thompson. Don, welcome.
Thank you.
Don is an electrical engineer by profession. He spent almost 50 years in construction and facilities management. How's that possible, Don?
I know. I don't look that old.
No, you don't. He has a really special interest in technology, and he describes himself as a gadget junkie. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Don lives in Ulster Village. I know you're going to like him, but please, he's not available for personal consultation. And that's not what this program is about. What we're trying to do is do these interviews for information only. So Don, let's get started with thermostats. How do thermostats increase my home's IQ?
Well, we got to go back and define what a thermostat is first.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you. My first recollection of a thermostat was when I was a little kid. When it was time to go to bed, my dad would go over to the wall and push this little box on the wall. And I wasn't quite sure what he was doing, but that was the last thing he did before he went to bed and the very first thing he did in the morning. It turns out that what he was doing was he was the automatic night setback for the temperature in the house. As time went on, somebody came up with the bright idea of putting in a thermostat or inventing a thermostat that had a clock in it. So instead of my dad having to go and turning the thermostat back at 10:30 or 11 o'clock, the clock would automatically do it, and it would set it back a certain number of degrees and then turn it on the next day at the time we were getting up.
So isn't that like a thermostat with a timer?
Yeah, that was, but at the time, they were smart thermostats.
Oh.
Okay, and they were very exciting. People thought they were going to be the end of the thermostat game because it did everything for you. It wasn't.
Oh, well, tell me more.
Well, then they came up and they decided that people didn't work, many of them, 7 days a week. So they took the time thermostat and they divided it into 7 days so that you could set your thermostat to get cool or back off the living temperature during the middle of the day when you were working. So you could set a weekday different than a weekend.
Oh, okay.
And again, you're saving more energy because you're not heating or cooling. Of course, back then it was only heating. And you could save energy by knocking off a couple degrees from your normal setting.
Okay. Well, you know, we've all seen ads for thermostats that would change temperature while sleeping or away from the house. What's the advancement beyond that? What's the next advancement?
Okay, so we start out with a thermostat, and my dad came with the thermostat.
Okay.
Then you put a clock in the thermostat, and it turned it back at night. Then we changed it into a 7-day clock. Then they came up with a thermostat that you could address or adjust remotely. And you started to use your telephone or your computer to adjust your thermostat.
Okay.
That was pretty exciting. Okay? And you might say, well, why would you care? Well, if you were running late at work and you had a meeting until 10 o'clock at night, you could go on your phone and tell your thermostat at home, I was only kidding, don't turn the heat up yet. Turn it up at 10 o'clock. So again, we're saving more energy. The whole idea by these special thermostats is to save energy, whether it be on heating or cooling.
So what you're saying is the most recent advancement is connecting a thermostat with your cell phone or your iPad?
No.
No?
It goes beyond that.
It goes beyond that. How?
Yeah. Well, we now have thermostats that have motion sensors in them. And they can sense when you're in the house. So it will turn the heat down to a low, and let's just talk about heat because it's easier. And besides that, it's wintertime. It'll turn the heat down, and let's just say for the sake of argument, we're talking 68 when we're there and 60 when we're not there or asleep, okay? So this thermostat, the new ones, can actually sense whether you're in the room or in the house, and if you are, it turns it up to 68. If after a while it detects no motion, it goes back to 60. Okay, this could be a shock if you wanted to take a short nap, but nevertheless,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the way
So
they work.
is that what they call a learning thermostat?
Yes, yes. They,
So tell us what that is specifically.
well, in effect, what it does is after a period of time, remember I told you that the first ones you had to adjust when you went to work and when you came home,
Right.
and when you went to bed and when you woke up. You had to put the numbers in. Well, the learning thermostat claims to be able to figure out by your daily activity what those times are.
How does it know that?
It does it through motion sensors. It can sense whether you're in the room or whether there's occupancy in the house.
Huh.
And if it goes for a period of time and doesn't sense occupancy in the house, it assumes you're either asleep or
What
not
about
there.
if you have a mischievous cat?
Interesting question. They have actually had difficulty setting these up so that the cat, or worse, the 150-pound
German
German
Shepherd?
Shepherd, doesn't set them off. So they have actually come up with technical ways where they're judging mass. Okay?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, my wife would weigh less than the German Shepherd, but they somehow figured out a way of doing that. And they have, if you can picture this, this is like a camera, and they narrow the scope of what it's sensing, so it may not sense down on the floor.
Oh, I
Do
see.
you follow what I'm
Yeah,
getting at?
because a cat, but cats can jump. And they can
Yeah,
get
that-
up on the furniture
Yeah, that's
too.
just wrong.
Well, you know, to the cat people,
I know.
they enjoy it.
But
you know?
again, even if they jump but don't have the mass,
Okay.
you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, so is it 100% accurate? No. But it is getting better all the time. Now, these thermostats, I think I mentioned that the Nest thermostat
Yes.
is one that will do all of that stuff. My brother has one, and he's still learning how to use it because it's pretty complicated. And he's a dentist, so I suspect if he doesn't like it, he'll drill a hole in it.
I'm sure. I've heard some commentary on these learning thermostats that sometimes it can be difficult to reset it because as it's learning, it goes back to the settings. And is that a problem?
I think it's getting better. When any of these technologies first come out, there are problems that even in the laboratory they haven't anticipated. So I think what's happening now is that they're able to learn from their mistakes. So I don't believe it's quite as much of a problem as it used to be.
So what are the costs? Are learning thermostats more expensive than other smart thermostats?
Now what do you think?
Probably. Probably, right?
The learning thermostats, the Nest, for example, I checked before I came over, and the Nest thermostat at the top of the line is around $250.
Oh, wow.
And that's, of course, not installed. That's just buying the gadget at the store. They run down to smart thermostats, which still can be controlled by your phone or your computer, but are not learning thermostats. Okay?
Okay.
In other words, where you have to plug in the schedule yourself. And they run as low as around $60 or $65.
Oh,
That's what I have.
Oh, come on.
No, it's true. It's true. Now, let me tell you about a really cool thing.
What's that?
Are you ready for this? This is a highly technical term.
Okay.
Are you
what
ready?
is it? I'm ready.
It's called geofencing.
Geofencing. What's that?
Okay. Now, we are fortunate to have a house at the beach. And when we go down there and it's in the wintertime, we have the heat set down to about 45. But when we get there, we'd like it warm. And inevitably, even though I can do this from my phone, I forget to turn the thermostat up. Okay? Geofencing is a feature that you can set on your phone that senses the location of your phone. So in my case, if my phone gets within 40 miles of my house down there, it turns the heat up.
Oh my gosh.
Okay?
Wow.
When I leave and it goes outside the 40-mile range, it turns it back to the 45-degree setting.
But when you're down there and you leave to go to the beach, what happens?
It's still within the 40 miles.
Oh, that's true. That's
Okay.
true. That's why you have it set at 40 miles.
Yeah, I happen to set it all the way out because I really don't use it much, but it's kind of a neat feature if you're absent-minded and you know can't remember to turn the heat on.
That's great.
It's really great when you leave and you're halfway home and you look at each other and say, "Did you turn the heat off?" And that's where it's wonderful.
Right.
Because in our case, in the wintertime, we don't go down very often.
Right.
The heat's on until the next time we come down. So this is a wonderful opportunity to be able to basically recover from a mistake. And it works great. The other nice thing is that I can sense the temperature, the actual temperature in the house. I can read that from my phone.
Right.
And that's a nice thing.
That's nice too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you know whether the house is freezing or
Right.
not.
Well, Don, this has really been an informative session. Thank you so much for coming to the studio today.
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it. If you have questions about technology, please write to deartechnologyabby@gmail.com. If you want to refer to this program in the future, these programs will be on the Hershey's Mill website, hershey'smill.org, on the Technology Committee page. Thank you for watching.